Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. It's great to have you here with me today. We're going to be talking about, most importantly, severe weather as we go through the next several days, especially as we head into the weekend. We're going to be watching an area here across the east that bears watching. Also on the northern edge of it, we're going to see some heavy wet snow. We'll get into the details on that. And here's a snapshot from the weekend system, convection all the way up into the eastern Great Lakes. And we'll also take a look at this interesting feature as we head on into April 2nd and 3rd. Could we be looking at a storm going coastal with interior snowfall? And we'll also be taking a look at the tropics here, see if there's any more tropical moisture surges, especially as we head towards the end of the month. Are we still looking at a big tropical moisture surge, or are drier times ahead? Let's get into it. All right, so let's kick off with our feature radar. We'll start with the wintry composite. Yes, as we head into the overnight hours, we do have some snow showers that are going to be moving through upstate New York, I-81 corridor, 11 p.m. midnight, and then racing towards northern New England. The big story is going to be the convective elements. You know, we have some mixed precipitation up here into the upper Midwest, a little bit of overrunning as we get into 5 a.m. on Saturday morning up here in the parts of New England. We could see some snowfall and across southern Ontario, northern Michigan. So as this comes together, this is 2 a.m. Sunday morning. You can see where the wintry precipitation is. It's way up here to the north. And taking a look at our convective elements, this is where the big story is going to be. So as we start 11 p.m. Across the area Thursday into Friday morning, here it is. The big story is going to be, there's two areas, some stronger storms up here in the parts of the Midwest and central eastern plains. Look at this down in through Texas. So we're going to take this first. Look at this. So we head through 7 a.m. on Friday morning. It's just getting worse from San Antonio to Houston. This is a basically stationary area of torrential downpours that just continues into the afternoon. It does start to make some headway to the east here. You can see towards Houston, Beaumont, these areas, western parts of Louisiana. So Beaumont here into eastern Galveston, and we'll have some cells fire up here around Houston, and then getting up into parts of northern Louisiana, Arkansas here, and the Mississippi River Valley. This is where we're going to see storms start to fire and head towards Ohio as we head on into Saturday here. Now, I'm going to get to this part. Let's just back it up here. And we will start off with your Thursday night into early Friday morning. Here's those stronger cells through parts of Indiana and Ohio. Some of these could contain gusty winds, small hail. This progresses to the east. You can see Toledo by this point. This is 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon. So we're getting some stronger cells moving across parts of northern Ohio. Cleveland, you might get some heavier rain and thunderstorms. Pittsburgh area. So the timing on this, look at it. You start off around 11 a.m., so moving through the Cleveland area right around 1, 2 p.m. here. Pittsburgh, there's lifting off to the northeast. So ultimately, you can see these stronger cells getting into western New York by 9 p.m. Friday night. And look at that. It's quite a conglomeration of convection up here. You know the saying, never trust a warm front. So we'll have to watch it here. Some of these isolated cells could go severe on us. And as we continue through time here, you can see where the heaviest rain's going to lie. That's interesting feature up here into northern New England. Probably picking up just where that mixed precipitation comes together. But here it is through the 30th at 2 a.m. Sunday. This is going to set us up for a very active day. It's too bad our mesoscale models don't go out further than this, but this is going to be heading to the east. And severe weather outlook for your Friday. There's two areas, the coastal Texas area over to Louisiana, and then we're going to zoom right up. Generalized thunderstorms in the light green, and then another area from eastern Nebraska all the way up to northern Wisconsin and Michigan. And here we go with another area across the Central Plains. We could be looking at a slight risk of severe weather on your Saturday. Kansas City, just north of Tulsa and Oklahoma City here. And then a marginal risk outside this level. And here we go, the rare day 4 outlook Sunday in this yellow zone. If you're in this yellow zone, watch out. I know it's Cleveland, you're right outside it, Pittsburgh as well, but anywhere close to the zone as well. This whole area needs to be watching for your Sunday, especially Sunday afternoon and evening. And on Monday, this progresses to the east, New Orleans, all the way up to Washington, D.C., Atlantic City, Philadelphia, all the way through the Carolinas, northern Florida, you could be looking at a big risk here of severe weather. Before we get into the winter composites, precipitation composite mode, let's take a look at the convective elements here on the GFS as we get into Sunday and into Monday. Yeah, we could see some strong to severe storms all the way up into parts of southern Michigan, not out of the question. Ohio, all the way down here to the Gulf Coast areas. Through Ohio through 11 p.m. here, so watch out. Some of these could get pretty strong as they move through. And then on the 31st, on Monday, this is where we really get the development of strong storms all the way up to New Jersey, parts of New York City, and down in through Georgia. So watch out. This system pulling off the coast 11 p.m. on Monday. Not before a lot of wind and some major thunderstorms. All right, so let's take a look at our GFS model, and then we'll look at the European as well, picking up where our future radar left off. So here we are as we progress through the rest of your Saturday into Sunday. You can see that surge of moisture, wintry precipitation on the northern edge of this system, right up through parts of northern Wisconsin, northern part of Michigan, and northern New England here. But here is where things get really bad. Right around 11 p.m. on the 30th. So we're getting into, we just back this up a little. You see there's two areas of heavy precipitation, and it's going to show up a lot more readily here on the European model. But there it is, that front moving through about this time and moving to the east. So we get a surge of more moisture through 2 p.m. on Monday afternoon with more strong to severe thunderstorms here into parts of the mid-Atlantic down through parts of the southeast here. That system pulls off the coastline here, and this next system looks really interesting right around April 2nd. Now, I'm going to kind of drop you a hint here. It's a lot different on the European model, which I'm about to show you here. But look at this. As this system moves through parts of Michigan, Wisconsin area, up through southern Ontario, look at it. It encounters some cold air here, 11 p.m., so some of this is going to happen overnight, which you can still get some pretty decent accumulations inland. That area of low pressure starts to weaken, and we're going to start to see a new one reform here off the coastline here. So this will bring potentially some heavy wet snow in the interior through 8 a.m. on April 3rd. So this is getting into literally about a week out here, so a lot can change. But look at this, taking a coastal low approach. We'll watch it here because it could bring some heavy wet snow inland, even into southeast Canada here, which I'll do on my Canadian weather outlook here in just several minutes from now. But here we are. We're looking at the next system moving through the northeast and then parts of the Ohio Valley here with strong thunderstorms continuing. Now, this area right around Colorado, this is going to really blast up an area of low pressure, and we could be looking at another severe weather outbreak moving east for April 7th into the 8th as waves of low pressure move along it. All right, so European model here. Let's compare that to the GFS run. So as we get into the weekend, this is where we're going to leave off, obviously, with our mesoscale models. Now, look at this. Earlier in the day, we got that area moving through parts of Ohio, these scattered showers and thunderstorms. Yeah, that first wave, we could see some strong to severe thunderstorms. It's the second wave. It looks to be moving slower. Look at this. So this could end up being a nocturnal event farther east into places like Ohio, all the way down into Tennessee, parts of Alabama, these areas. Look how it does kind of weaken here around Ohio into western Pennsylvania. But then there is a second, or actually I should say a third wave here that supercharges during the early morning hours of Monday. So we could have a very high threat of damaging straight line winds all the way up into parts of Ohio here, all the way to the Gulf Coast. Very, very high risk of these lines of thunderstorms that bow out, these bow echoes. And look at this. It just reorganizes throughout the day, so I think we'll have another chance of some stronger storms here from eastern Ohio all the way down the Appalachians to the Gulf Coast region here. So yeah, look at this. As we head throughout the day, noon hour, we're going to be looking at strong to severe thunderstorms, I think, all the way up into parts of the mid-Atlantic, northeast. We're also going to take a look at the wind field with this storm because I think it's going to have tremendous winds as well. as the squall line, couple squall lines, I think, move to the east here. As we head throughout Tuesday into Wednesday, this pulls up into the Canadian Maritimes. Now, the next system we're going to be watching here, Wednesday, April 2nd, that's going to blast to the north and east, even further to the north on the European run than it is on the GFS. But look at this. This is big-time severe weather here across parts of the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys. That pushes all the way up Thursday towards Cleveland, throughout most of Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and look at that. We consolidate the strong to severe thunderstorms here across parts of the mid-Atlantic as well. Waves of low pressure riding along it, bringing some beneficial rain to the area, but look at this. This is day after day of severe weather across the south, so it's going to be a very busy time of it. Tornado season, full swing here. Look at this Colorado low trying to get cranked here around Colorado. Massive snowstorm, blizzard potential around Denver southward here. And look at this. Sunday, April 6th, this looks just awful. This could be a scenario for a massive severe weather outbreak here across much of the south, southern plains, into the deep south. This low gets going really far to the south for this time of year. And we'll have to watch it here because it does transfer to the coast here. It does remain a little more progressive, but this is the weird part. Look at that. Mixed precipitation along the coastline of the Carolinas. That is crazy to even think about there. Look at that. We'll have to watch it here. It's something we need to keep an eye on because, you can get some, winter storms here along the East Coast this far into April. Okay, so I wanted to show you the wind field with this upcoming weekend storm. It's got a tremendous amount of wind with it. You can see here, these are indicated gusts as we get 6-hour averages here. So as we continue through late Sunday into Monday, you can see, here we go. Especially during the day on Monday. This is where this is wind outside thunderstorms, really gets cranking. 40, 50 mile an hour gusts across Ohio, eastern Great Lakes. And look at this. If we get the timestamp, this is getting into early evening. Look how this propagates. It looks like the strongest winds head right up across northern New York here. Still some gusts into the 30s. And then look at that. We transpire that down towards the Catskills, Poconos, these ridge tops. So it looks like much of the big cities of the Northeast eking out away from the worst of the strong winds, but still interior parts of the Northeast getting tremendous winds here, especially the higher elevations. And look at this, as we get into the middle of next week, this next system looks to have a tremendous amount of wind with it as well as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. That's another storm system we'll have to keep a very close watch on. So let's take a look at our European run here for rainfall totals. It is insanity here across parts of the deep south, Gulf Coast areas in particular. We had all the way through early next week. You can see some heavy rain up here into parts of the Ohio Valley, eastern Great Lakes, and Northeast, where we'll be getting 1 to 2 inches of solid rain down here across parts of the Gulf Coast. Some of these areas could be seeing closer to additional rainfall. I'm going to zoom in on this momentarily. 3 to 6 inches, locally higher to 8 inches. And as we continue through time here, look at this. The next storm system come the mid to later portion of next week. Look at this. Yeah, this is some big time bad news here for much of the South. Look at this. We could really be getting areas a 2-week period here into the 6 to 12 inch range for rain. Now, let me just back this up. Here across South Texas and southwestern Louisiana, additional rainfall here. Yeah, San Antonio area, southwestern Louisiana. We could be looking at another 4 to 8 inches easily. And as we get up to the Ohio Valley over the weekend, yeah, some beneficial rains, but we're going to have to watch Ohio up into Indiana as we get into later next week into the following week. We could be looking at some very heavy rainfall totals here. So here we go for snowfall amounts on the European model. Yeah, as we get into early, mid, latter part of the weekend, mainly early, look at this. Solid 8 to 10 inches up here in northern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, parts of southern Maine. Now, let's just watch this play out here across the northern Midwest. That's where you could see upwards of 6, maybe 8 inches in some of these locations. But watch this. As we go into next week, the European is much warmer. So we get into that first week of April. we don't really see any major snowstorms. This is going out 360 hours. You know, this keeps most of the snow bottled up from the Rockies, northern plains, into northern New England. And here's our snowfall map on the GFS. There it is, pretty much agreeing with the Euro until, later in the weekend. The snow band is a little farther to the south here, but you get the idea. Northern Wisconsin, southern part of Minnesota, up into parts of Canada. Now watch this. Next week, middle to latter part of next week, the GFS, there's been a couple runs now where the GFS is still going with an interior snowstorm across the Northeast, from Northeast Pennsylvania, upstate New York, into central and northern New England here. We'll have to keep an eye on because that could be a significant snowstorm. Yes, it would probably be more elevation dependent, especially if it happens during the day, but we'll watch it here. And here we are with the GFS model. As we go further out, you can see that Firecracker Ridge just holding tough over the weekend as that blast of 70-degree temperatures moves up to the northeast. Now watch this. Next week, we get that cool down, a few stormy troughs moving through. Nothing too terribly huge, but we'll have to watch this system in particular Thursday next week for maybe some coastal development that might bring an interior snowstorm. But look how quickly things warm back up with the ridge here. And here we are with the European run, a very similar situation, a ridge continuing across the east. And then next week, yes, we get troughs and ridges moving through April 3rd. Europeans not really going with any coastal storm or interior snowstorm across the northeast. Much warmer here as we look on the European run as we head through the 7th into the 8th. Now, there is a big trough that starts to pummel parts of the northeast and southeast Canada right around April 8th, 7th into the 8th here. We'll have to watch this. I mean, yeah, this does look pretty menacing, but it is not a negatively tilted trough. It's positively tilted. So it probably wouldn't get anything spinning up unless it was on the southern portion where it does start to show a negatively tilted trough here towards April 11th here. So we'll have to keep a watch on that. These times of year, you can still get some big coastal storms. NAO index here, it is staying positive, but we're going neutral come the middle of the month. And here on our MJO index, yeah, we're starting right around between 7 and 8 here, kind of active. The models, half the models take it through 8 and 1 into more active phases, and the other half of the models take it off towards lesser amounts, towards 6 and maybe 7. So we'll keep an eye on it here. It's a toss-up. All right, so for our polar vortex watch here, you can see what's happening. The cell over northern Europe, it's dragging as we head on into the weekend. There's those colder colors signifying that split there, pushing some cooler air down into parts of eastern North America. Now, this run goes out to April 2nd, but let's take the previous run here. And we can go a little bit further out here as we get through the first full week of April. You can see the polar vortex drifting towards north-central parts of the North American continent. Here's those bluer colors out here into parts of the North Atlantic. Watch them move towards eastern North America here. So that means we're going to have some cooler spells here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And before we dive into the tropical weather update, if you made it this far in the video and you like it, smash that like button, everyone. It really does help. Question or comment down below. I'd love to read your questions or comments. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe bell notification button so you're alerted with all my future weather video updates, especially ahead of this hurricane season. Let's continue. And take a look at the Caribbean, Western Atlantic, Central America here, the Gulf. Look what's going on here. So as we head through Friday into the weekend, it's going to be the big story is this frontal boundary. You see up to the north here over Bermuda, we got that big old Bermuda high, and that's going to continue to feed that moisture as this frontal boundary just stalls across the Bahamas, just north of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Maybe a few showers on these easterly trade winds as we head throughout the latter part of the weekend here, but look at this. Yeah, moving right through. Central America is really dry here, but look at this. Through the Lesser Antilles, you get some showers kicking up here. Through the 30th into the 31st as we head on into Monday, you can see really focusing itself right into the northeastern Caribbean islands here, all the way to the Dominican Republic. That's where you're getting those showers and thunder showers developing. Now, as we continue through April 1st into the 2nd, you can kind of see what's going on here. The northwestern Caribbean is pretty much clear as a bell here. Look at this. But over here It's the north central and northeastern Caribbean. This is where we're going to continue to see those heavier rain and showers and thunder showers moving through as we head through April 3rd into the 4th. You can see this trend just continuing right around this area of high pressure, this moist flow keeping these showers going. And they show up even more prominently here on the European model, which I'm about to show you in just a few moments here. But look at this. As we head through the 6th into the 7th, showers continuing. We do start to moisten things up here across Central America by the 7th into the 8th. Jamaica really starting to get in on some of these showers and thunder showers. And look at the last frame here. Here is a big cold front moving through just north of Dominican Republic, so we're going to have to watch the leading edge of that, and some more moisture here across Central America. And thanks to Tropical Tidbits here for our European model analysis here. So as we kick it Friday into the weekend, look at this massive amount of moisture on the southern part of this front. Yeah, it's just really bubbling up here, especially during the daytime heating. Southeastern Bahamas, Turks, Caicos, just north of Dominican Republic, right around Jamaica, you're getting some showers. And look at this, as we head on into the afternoon and evening hours, this front kind of sags to the south here. So we're going to increase the moisture content and squeeze it out over these north central Caribbean islands as we head on into early Saturday morning as well. Look at that, heading right into, look at South Florida getting in on the act as well. This blocking high, it keeps this front kind of stalled and stuck across the northern Caribbean islands as we head into Sunday, into Monday. Look at this surge of moisture here continuing. Northern Lesser Antilles, Virgin Islands getting in on the act here. Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic. Look at Central America, though. Unusually quiet with a few showers by Tuesday into the eastern part of Nicaragua, Honduras coast here. More showers continuing from the Lesser Antilles, especially the Central Lesser Antilles, northwestward towards Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Look at this right around Wednesday. This is a little interesting feature. This is almost signifying maybe a mini early tropical wave. We'll have to keep an eye on it here. It kind of holds together as it heads just south of Jamaica, but this could mean maybe an early start to our tropical wave season as we kick westward here. And then look at this. For April 4th into the 5th, we see a few features, but look at that. Dominican Republic, Haiti, the bullseye here for the heaviest rain as we head into that first weekend of April. And then look at this, almost like another trough, like a wave moving through parts of the northeastern Caribbean islands around this area of high pressure, squeezing that moisture out. And this is when, look at this moisture across South America. It's going to start streaming northwestward towards Central America. So that's something we'll have to keep a close watch on here as we go through April 7th into the 8th and into the 9th. It looks a little drier, but then we're going to start to watch this frontal boundary move towards the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Cancun, and look at this. This front could make it all the way down to Honduras, the Cayman Islands. This could be a big deal here. Look at this. Massive surge of moisture as this frontal boundary, and definitely an air mass change as well. This is right around the 10th into the 11th, approaching Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and down through Honduras here. And if we take a look at those sea surface temperatures, just a little over 2 months to hurricane season, these temperatures across the Western Atlantic, Caribbean, and Gulf are running well above average. Now, they've moderated a little bit, but we're still looking at 1.2 to as high as 2.8 on average here, above average. And here we go, looking at the rainfall amounts here on our European run. You can see as we head through the weekend, there's the axis of heaviest precipitation across the north central part of the Caribbean, Jamaica, all the way through the Turks, Caicos of the Bahamas here, and then through Dominican Republic and Haiti. Upwards of 45 to maybe as much as 90 millimeters. Jamaica, a little bit less here, anywhere from about 15 to 35 millimeters. Now look at this, as we head through the first full week of April, yeah, you get the idea. This is without the front coming through. Look at this. Parts of Dominican Republic, Jamaica, eastern Honduras, and Nicaragua here. Easily these red areas getting upwards of 60 to 100 millimeters. These other areas in the parts of Dominican Republic, look at this, upwards of 100, 125 millimeters. And if we go just a little bit further out with this front moving through, north coast of Honduras really starts to become the bullseye, close to 150 millimeters in some of these locations. And over towards Jamaica, yeah, we're just going to add lots of rain on top of this. And heading to the Eastern Caribbean here, look at this. So that front to the north just focuses all that moisture through Sunday across the Dominican Republic and Haiti here, Turks, Caicos area. Puerto Rico, yeah, you do start to moisten up come the middle of next week. And look at those northeast and easterly trade winds. That's going to get this cranking. And then this next frontal boundary towards April 10th and 11th. Look at this area. Obviously, the Lesser Antilles, you're going to be getting an average of 45 to as much as 90 millimeters. Some locations, obviously the higher elevations, getting up towards 100 millimeters. But look at Puerto Rico, averaging 3/4 to 1.5 inches, but much more over towards Dominican Republic and Jamaica. All right, and your Canadian weather outlook, look what's going on here across Canada. Yeah, we got a lot of snowfall we're going to be talking about from southern British Columbia, the mountains, all the way to southern Ontario and Quebec as we head on into Friday and into Saturday. Yeah, the rain snow line getting north of Toronto here, but Ottawa to Montreal, Quebec City, it looks interesting. Now, this first wave misses most to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, but it's the second wave through the 30th into the 31st, Sunday into Monday. We start to push that rain snow line further to the north and to the east across Ontario and Quebec here. Many of the population centers getting into either mixed precipitation over to solid rain. New Brunswick, southern part does change over to rain, and then eventually all of it as well. So we'll have to watch it here. High pressure building in behind it here for April 1st. The next Pacific system moving into British Columbia here. You do have a period of very quiet conditions for a couple days over Quebec. But watch this next system from the United States. Here we go. April 2nd, another heavy snow event. This one could be further south. That's that system in the United States that could go coastal. Could this bring some heavy snow for Ottawa and Montreal area up to Quebec City? And then eventually up towards New Brunswick, northern Nova Scotia here. It is quite possible. We'll keep an eye on it here as it clips Newfoundland as well. But the next system brings that rain snow line much further to the north here. You see our Pacific system out to British Columbia here. Many areas of mountain snow. Now, as we head through the 6th, 7th, and into the 8th, look at that rain snow line going all the way up to Hudson Bay here. So big changes ahead as we get through the first full week of April there. And let's take a look at our snowfall here across Canada as we head through the weekend. Into next week, look at this. This is like a bonanza for heavy snow. Stretching, it's mainly across the southern province, part of all the provinces here. Look at from British Columbia all the way eastward across the prairies, all the way across southern Ontario, central southern Quebec, most to New Brunswick, parts of northern Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, and all the way through the Canadian Maritimes here. Let's just zoom in. Look at this. Some of these darker purples are closer to 35 to 40 centimeters over close to a 2-week period. So we're going to be looking, there's a snow hole right around extreme southern Quebec here, but you get the idea. And of course, it's from Toronto on southward to London. There's nothing pretty much, but look at this, all the way up across much of Canada. We're getting tremendous snowfall totals here. All right, so let's take a look at temperatures here. We got a major temperature disparity here. You can see north of that line, that's where the cooler temperatures are. South of it, we got some 80s streaming out here in the plains. Look at all these 70s back east as well. So as we progress into the weekend, Saturday, look at this, warming into the 70s for much of Ohio and Pennsylvania. Most areas getting pretty much all of New Jersey as well. Southward, the Carolinas getting into the low 80s. Texas and Oklahoma getting into the 90s here. This is crazy. So this storm system is going to push this warmth to the east here Sunday. Look at this. Another day of 70-plus degree temperatures here in the east and getting into the 80s and parts of the deep south here. And Monday, look at this. This is feeding our severe weather into this storm. Look at these 70s and even 80s pushing all the way up into parts of the mid-Atlantic. But look at behind it. We get a little bit more seasonable. You can actually see on Tuesday, it's your coolest day, of upper 30s and lower 40s across the lakes and parts of the interior northeast. But watch as we head into Wednesday, April 2nd. Look at the heat building along the Gulf Coast. Upper 80s and even some 90s. Look at that peninsula of Florida, close to 90. Much of Texas in the 90s. Extended forecast from our hometown viewers, Binghamton, Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. Friday is going to be a delightful day. Sunny skies up near 60. Light winds as well, 5 miles an hour or less. So get out there and enjoy. The showers move in Friday night, and Saturday we'll have some scattered showers throughout the day, mostly cloudy skies getting up towards the mid-70s. Really, really nice. So the rain moves back in, especially Sunday. We start to kick up those winds up towards 70 again, and look at this for Monday. Heavy rain and wind likely. Wouldn't be surprised if we get some thunderstorms earlier in the morning too. I think your early high will be in the upper 60s with falling throughout the day. Into Tuesday, much cooler, down into the mid 40s, and we bounce it back up throughout the week next week towards the 50s and 60s. And before we continue with more weather coverage, check out these amazing, awesome maps from my affiliate here. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, super thanks. You can smash that super thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks everyone, share that video, subscribe if you haven't, smash that like button.